Now, over the last few years, we've seen the rise of many off-brand companies posing on different apps and websites, trying to sell you tactical gear for a bargain. And, well, quite frankly, they're garbage. But there's one that I was yet to really dig into and see if these claims are actually good. So today we ask the question, how does Teemu stack up to actual tactical gear brands? What's up, guys? Welcome to the Wolf's Den. My name is Wolf. For those of you that are new here who have just found the channel through this video, firstly, welcome. It's good to have you, and I hope that this is not the last video you watch. So, as some of you may remember from my longtime viewers, I have done gear reviews, quote-unquote, in the past, looking at things such as rifles and whatnot that I use on the channel, extensively, might I add, through a non-biased lens. Not necessarily a review, but just an overview of my opinions and my experience with the rifles in question. I've also done it with my own kit, which today you might notice has changed a little bit. Specifically, the nice Fed Boy Polo, as some of you have called it. I'm not a Fed, I swear. It's comfy and I like it. It looks really nice. The blue matches with everything. Anyway, that's not the point. The point today, though, we're going to be taking a look at this. And some of you might be wondering, well, what is this? This, for the uninitiated, is a chest rig, which is starkly different from what I am currently wearing, which is a plate carrier. However, that's not the only difference in what lays in front of you here and what I'm currently wearing. The other difference is that what I'm currently wearing is made by an actual brand, like a gun company or a tactical gear company. This chest rig is not. Well, not really. I bought this off of Teemu. And for those of you that don't know what Teemu is, it is effectively a Wish or an AliExpress on steroids. And I'll get to why I say that here in a minute. But for anyone who knows, there have been plenty of videos about Wish, about AliExpress, and specifically their tactical gear, which is dubious at best. It's not exactly what you think it is most of the time. It's normally marked down very low for outrageous prices that just simply cannot be beat. But the quality is very lacking, and it leaves a lot to be desired. Now, as you guys know, I am a bit of a connoisseur, or depending on other flavorful words that you might use for me. Effectively, I like to shop around a little bit. I don't necessarily just dedicate to one brand over another. I like to kind of flow through the gambit and see what works and what doesn't, and then make an opinion from there. I do want to say, we are not sponsored whatsoever for this video, but I simply wanted to have a look at this little piece of kit here for my own curiosity, and also to share it with all of you for anyone who might be working on more of a budget and wanted to know if Teemu is the right place to look. Now, if you guys are interested in seeing more content like this in the future before we get into the actual nitty-gritty of this item right here, let me know what you guys want to see off of Teemu or other sites like it in the future. Again, I've done gear type stuff before, nothing like this, but if you guys want to see some actual gun and tactical brand stuff, I have a whole playlist called Wolf's Gun Locker where you guys can see all of the weapon reviews, or deep dives as I call them, all in one playlist. Please go in, have a look at that, and as well, I have done a full video on my entire kit from literally head to toe, covering all the stuff that I normally use, whether you see here on screen or when I'm out on the field doing actual gameplay. So, if this doesn't float your boat, maybe something like that will. Either way, I appreciate you guys stopping by for today's video. And without further ado, we are going to jump straight into this. And the first thing that we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the quality that you get with this here from Teemu and this carrier here, and kind of compare the two. We're not going to compare chest rigs to plate carriers. That's not an argument that I'm going to get into. I think both are very valid systems, hence why I have one of each now. This is simply more of my curiosity coming out in a video because I wanted to know how this stacks up to actual gear companies. So, to compare these two things, obviously, I might just need to get this off of me so I can kind of show you guys what I'm talking about here. So, let's go ahead and just... Okay, there we go. I'm feeling a little naked at the moment, so, please don't laugh at me. I'm exposed. Don't hurt me. I'm also going to take these off just to help illustrate and, feel around a little more. Because, being able to feel what you're doing with your hands is a little important. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So, let's go ahead and just have a quick comparison here between our Temu rig here and this, which is an actual gun company. So, off the gate, one thing that I do want to note in comparison here, the camo is strikingly good on the Temu chest rig here. I will commend them. That actually looks pretty nice. This is a little more flat looking. Obviously, it was a little more vibrant when I first got it, just because it's been faded into the sun and used and whatnot. This is brand new. The multicam on this, very solid. Can't really complain. The actual molly webbing on this compared to this, also very, very good. Can't really complain a whole lot quality-wise between this and this. However, where I start to see some quality differences is in some of the quality of life things that this gets you compared to this. And the main thing I'm talking about is on the inside panels of the plate carrier and specifically on the shoulder straps. These are very, very well padded, and they have nice heat reducing pads on the inside to keep you cool, but also keep heat in when it is cold. So that is something you see here. Granted, that's also more of a plate carrier thing because there's more space, so you need more of that compared to a chest rig. So take that for what you will. But especially with the shoulder pads here, you can see that they are a little thicker, a little more padded. They actually have a little bit of cushion, a little bit of give to them to help support the shoulders. Whereas this, if you guys can see that, is looking a little thin. Honestly, that is the main difference here. The buckles are all a nice, solid, firm plastic, just like this is here. Although these are quick detach, so a little bit of a difference there. But the actual material they're made out of about the same. The feel of the material for all the pouches, all the fabric and the internal sections here feels pretty close to the same. So honestly, comparing it to this, fairly similar. Can't really complain here. Material feels good, molly feels good. Everything on here that's also present here is very, very similar. The only thing that really bothers me are the shoulders, which we'll get into here in just a second. But directly comparing the two, I mean, they could be from the same company for as far as I know. Obviously, there are some design notes that are a little different. The way that they do the molly here on the chest rig is obviously different than the way they do the molly webbing here on the carrier. But other than that, I mean, if you didn't have the design things going on each for each company, you wouldn't be able to really tell. They are very, very similar, very close. So really good on Temu for that, aside from a couple of things that we'll get into here in just a moment. So with that said, let me go ahead and get this off the table. Go down here, bump, and let's have a look here at our Temu chest rig here. What I want to do first is just go through the entire gambit of what you get from this here chest rig out of the box. And before we do that, I do want to say the actual price that I paid for this was a measly $50 on Temu. I did get this very, very inexpensively, so take that going into it as well when I start talking about what all this comes with and the features that it has. Speaking of features, let's get into it, shall we? So, ignoring the personal editions, we'll get to those later. We're going to start from top and move our way to bottom. The first thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to detach them so you guys can get a little bit better of a feel for them, are the actual straps or the harness portion here that goes on your back and over your shoulders. As I mentioned before, the actual straps themselves leave a little to be desired. They are very, very thin. They do have a small amount of like padding, quote unquote, to them. It's not the worst thing in the world. It digs in a little bit to the upper shoulder trap area. It digs a little bit in, but I mean, this isn't a super heavy system in the first place, so it's not too unbearable. It's not bad at all. Especially once I got it all cinched up to my actual frame and got it, so it was secure to me and not flopping around in the wind. Really not too bad at all. And as you guys can see, the actual straps themselves do have MOLLE on them, so that is very, very nice. And really quick, while I have that in hand, I do want to talk about the MOLLE. It's actually very rigid. Normally with these like Wish, AliExpress items, the MOLLE is very loose, very just kind of meh, very poorly made. This one does not fall into that. It is actually very, very solid. It has a little bit of like a hard backing, or like a flexible hard backing to it. I don't know what exactly it is underneath. I'm not going to cut it open to find out, but the MOLLE is actually very, very solid, and as you can see, I've already added something to this one, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon, and it's very, well done, first of all. So there's a positive right there. On the back side, it does have a little bit of Velcro for patch space, so that's nice to help identify friend from foe, and ideally not get a purple heart from a friendly, although knowing me and my sneaky antics, that'll still happen anyway. So, moving down to the lower section of the harness, this is where things get a little less ideal. We get to the couplings here that go underneath your armpit section here, like right in here on the sides, and then hooks into the front of the actual placard. And one thing I'm not a big fan of is all the excess material you get, because there's not a good way to store it away. You can see I just have it looped there. And it does have a little strap here that kind of secures it in place once you have it all rolled up. I'm just not a fan of this system of putting material away. I would rather it hide back somewhere and be flush with the rest of this panel here, but that's personal preference. So we'll just go ahead and put this over here for right now. That way it's not flapping around everywhere, and we'll move to the main placard section. Obviously we have our little couplings here on the top and the sides that were for our harness just a second ago. The other section of the harness is right here, these little clips here, and this would just go around your waist. Again, this is kind of suffers from the same problem as the harness did. This little doodad here that goes around your waist. It's not really a cummerbund like you would see with some chest rigs or plate carriers. It's just a little strap that goes around your back and waist section, and it's, again, a little thin, so it bites into you a little bit. But, I mean, for what it is, it's nice and sturdy, good material. It's not fraying at the edges or feeling like it's going to snap on you. So, nothing to complain about there. It's just a strap with a bit of elastic to help secure it to your back, and plenty of material to wrap around. So, no complaints there either. Now, for the fun bit. What you see here, aside from a couple of things, is quite literally what you get with this. You have your main flat pack here in the front, which has a couple sections to it. This top one here being a waterproof section, which actually is very, very nice. You can put your map, any intel, anything paper that you don't want to get wet, or spare batteries, anything like that doesn't want to get wet, you can go right in here. Actually, quite nice, I'm not gonna lie. I do appreciate that. And then the actual main section of the flat pack, you unzip there, and it is also Velcroed on the inside. And on the inside, I was given this little patch here from one of you guys, the fans. Crimson actually gave me this patch. Thank you, Crimson. Appreciate you, buddy. And that just nicely goes right in here. So anything Velcro or hook and loop that you would want to go in here can, or it can just be used for space for whatever you need, whether it be ammo, again, intel if you're doing milsims, or anything to that effect. There is another zipper on the inside here. It's kind of hard to see from your guys' view, but it's right there, the little section here. It also has the hook and loop on the inside, not waterproof like the other one, but gives you plenty of space off the bat for whatever you really would need to put in there. So, good little bit of space, and when you're laying prone, also helps a little bit too. When you're laying down, gives a little bit of a cushion on your upper body. So, that's kind of nice. I appreciate that as well. Behind this, when you get it, ignore these for right now. This is not part of the system originally. That's a personal add-on. We'll get to that. But behind here, we have 3 5.56 elastic band pouches. So instead of the traditional mag pouch where it's the like Velcro top or like the banded top, it's just an open top system like that. It does have these little tabs where originally these little elastic bands of hell were there, and you guys know me, not a fan of these, so I tore them all out, and honestly they don't need them because they retain mags just fine. As do the side mags, which we'll go ahead and talk about now, and as you guys can see, it is nice and velcroed on the back. Adds a little bit of cushion, not much, but a little bit. On the sides, we do have 2 more mag pouches, which again come with the actual chest rig. And not only are these M4 compatible, I found out they are 308 compatible mag pouches with elastic sides to make them nice and easy rip and reload. And they retain very, very nicely until you want them to come out. Big fan of that. As you guys know, my idle gears that I use for 5.56 on my main carrier are the same system, and I very, very much appreciate it. That's the main 3 things here, and then obviously underneath this little dude that's flapping around is again another pouch, which has, again, 3 main sections. Just like the top flat pouch, this little guy here has on the top another waterproof section in case you had more stuff that needs to be protected from any sort of moisture, which again, pretty nice. I will say all these zippers as well, very solid. I mean they slide really easy, and they've also got a nice little bit of shrink wrap on them to help keep them a little more secure, which I kind of like. Don't hate it. It's not like amazing anything, but it's just a nice little addition. Didn't have to do that, but it's cool. And then the main section here brings us to another fun little addition. Obviously you can hear the lovely, lovely Velcro on the inside, just like the main pack. But this bad boy also comes with shotgun loops that you can throw on the front or down here. Basically pick your poison wherever you want to throw these. They are the hard side of Velcro here on the back. I'm going to keep them in here for right now. But that basically means, out of the gate, just for anyone keeping count, you have 5.56 compatible mags pouches, which can also be used for 9mm or 45 SMGs because they are elastic, so their mags aren't going to go anywhere once they're in there anyway. And you have 2 5.56 and 308 compatible elastic mag pouches here, and you have shotgun loops, meaning that literally, for airsoft at least, literally any mag could go on this thing. So no matter what system you're using, out of the gate, you have a pouch somewhere that can take a mag for the guns you're using. Of course, not all of them will unanimously use all of them, but at the very least, if you're running something 308 or 7.62 in general, you have pouches for that. If you're running a shotgun, you have loops for that. If you're running, say, just standard M4 mags, you have pouches for that. So, out of the gate, I'd say you're definitely getting your $50 worth out of this thing. Now, let's talk about some things that I personally added to it, and we'll start again from top to bottom. Now, aside from the string beans, you guys may have noticed that I added a little pistol pouch here, this one being from Condor, nothing too special. And while you might be wondering, well, why am I putting a pistol pouch here? I have, 3 of them on my belt. For those of you that watched the video on my full kit, I have plenty of mag space for my pistol. Well, that's mainly because it's not for a pistol, but it's for one of these, which is a little simple speed loader that slides right into place. The reason I have this here, and it may not stay there, to be honest, been kind of fiddling with it. I don't know for sure if it's going to stay on this specific spot. I might move it somewhere else. It's a little more convenient. But the main reason, as some of you will know, I have a specific rifle that I don't have a lot of mags for, and so speed loaders are my friend when using it. And if you haven't caught on to the sneaky thing that I've done with said rifle, it may or may not be sitting right behind me. Let's see. What do we have here today? Well, for those of you that have seen the videos that it's been in, I have my Remington Defense MSR. Yes, I'm shoehorning this into another video. Leave me alone. For those of you that haven't picked up, this is partially why I have the chest rig, is for this. And I'll get into that a little more, but this is reminding me, I haven't really done an in-depth video on this gun. I've done teching videos and I have a single gameplay video, all of which you can find in the either down in the description or through the info card above if I remember to put it in. But I haven't done an actual deep dive on this one, so might have to change that. We'll see. You guys let me know down in the comments below if you guys want to see a deep dive on this beauty here. I haven't really talked a whole lot about it outside of the teching videos and the single video that I did with gameplay with it. But you guys let me know. Maybe we'll do that here soon. We haven't done a deep dive in a while. I think the last one was the FAL. So I think not. Just let me know. Anyway, I'm gonna put this back down for now. Oh, there we go. You heavy little girl. Anyway, that is, again, the long way of saying that's what this is for. Is for a speed loader to just go there and I can quickly reload the MSR on the fly or any other gun that I should be using at the time. Although really it's more for the MSR than any of the other ones because I have plenty of mags for all my other ones aside from that one. But the other main addition that I've made to this rig is here underneath the flat pack. I have flattened down to the 5.56 elastic pieces and inserted my 308 triple mag pouch from Wild Custom Gear. As some of you might know, I had been swapping this guy back and forth with my 5.56 panel on my original plate carrier, the one that's just below me here, and really I got tired of it, so when I got this, I saw an opportunity and threw that in instead. So that's really all I've done to it, and that does kind of bring us to why I got this thing in the first place. Number one, obviously, I did want to know what Teemu was like. I've tested around with Wish and AliExpress a little bit. Their tactical gear left a lot to be desired, if I'm being entirely honest. This one surprised me a lot, and I'll get to that on my final thoughts here when I get to them. But the other reason that I got this in the first place was partially for the MSR and things that were 308 like the FAL or the M14 or just guns in general that needed a different type of mag situation such as 308. But the other reason as well, for those of you that haven't realized it or haven't noticed, whether you be because you're in a different country or you never leave your mom's basement, whichever one it is, it's hot as shit here in the States. And this is going to help me out a lot because as much as I love my plate carrier setup and it's very useful and it's been set up after years of testing and messing with it and perfecting it, I needed something a little lighter weight for some of my heavier guns with as hot as it's been here lately. And with the nice polo, I figure it, it fits that favela aesthetic that I've been going for with some of my kit here recently anyway because of the heat. So I figured it was time to pick up a chest rig and just kind of play around with it and see how I liked it. And it just so happened that I chose Teemu as the place to do it. Now, what are my thoughts on the Teemu chest rig? Well, to be honest, I'm very surprised by it. It's very, very nice quality. It comes with all the mag space you could ever need out of the box. It's got a lot of usability is what I'm getting at. And I was very, very, very surprised by it. I didn't know what to make of it until I got it. It was something I just kind of decided in the spur of the moment to go for. And I will say this was money well spent on my part. I am yet to really get out into the field and mess with it. I've done, as I mentioned, I've done a bunch of manipulation testing and making sure I'm able to maneuver with it and everything. And so far, very impressed with the quality and just the usability of this thing. I have very few complaints for this. Does that mean that all other companies that make, frankly, more expensive, more Guccified chest rigs than this are garbage? That you shouldn't buy them, that you shouldn't, go with another brand simply because this costs less and is giving you a similar quality? Not necessarily. This is not the end-all or be-all of chest rigs. I don't think that's really a question on anyone's mind. It certainly is not on mine. this simply works for what I need it for. Does that mean it's going to work for you or for everyone else? Not necessarily. If you're working on a budget and you really can't shell out a lot of money for, say, like a Spiritus or a Haley Strategic or a T-Rex Arms or even a Condor, which those are relatively inexpensive on their own, or like a 511, if you can't afford that, this is a really good option. I mean, just look at it. It's got pretty much anything and everything you need to just go out and play airsoft. Using it in a real steel environment, I honestly can't say. Because I haven't had a chance to take this out to a field or out to a range yet, I really can't say how it's going to stack up to actual gun company brands, like well-known brands. I don't know yet. That might have to be a follow-up video if something catastrophic or something major comes up that I realize and I need to go back and, address it. But for what is here, what you get with the entire package, and what you actually pay for, it's a really, really good entry level, if not mid to like very solid chest rig. At least on the surface, from what I can see and from what I can gather with my own experience here the last couple of weeks with this thing. It's a solid performer, and it comes with a lot of usability. So, again, take this for what you will. This does not replace all of the other good Gucci brands. At least I don't think it does, because again, a lot of those nicer brands have other usability features that this doesn't have. This obviously works very similarly to a lot of them in that you can change out the placard, you can change out pretty much anything on here to fit your needs, which is exactly what a chest rig or a plate carrier should do in the first place. I'm just very, very surprised, and I thought you guys would be as well, and you would at least find it entertaining to hear me ramble about the stupid shit that I found on the internet. Either way, I'll go ahead and wrap this up. You guys can discuss what you think down in the comment section below. Does it seem good, or is it just more knockoff garbage? I'll leave that up to you guys in the comments and save my piece for when I actually get to use it a little more out in the field. So, thank you all for watching until the end. I greatly appreciate it, and as I mentioned, let me know what you want to see in the future, whether it be more stuff like this, more weapon reviews, hint hint, wink wink. We've got a couple of new guns that could use a review or a deep dive here relatively soon. I'll leave that up to you guys though, let me know. And be sure to check out my Twitch channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. We've been getting a lot of new people coming by, and I really, really appreciate you guys doing so. So, hope you're enjoying the channel, and not only that, but the community within it as well. It's a pleasure to have all of you guys. And as always, this has been Wolf. And hope to see you guys next time I hit the field.